we have played for such a long time, but we're not like a biggest band in the whole world, but we still like love each other and go out and touring and do our live shows, and that's something to celebrate.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
John and Ann-Sophie, thank you so much for your time today. Sharp Objects is coming out soon, February 14, Valentine's Day. What could be more romantic than a new rock album? There's even a song called Valentine's on the album, although it's not the most romantic song, maybe. How are you guys feeling right now?
Yeah, really excited, and feels good to be at last releasing a new album. So yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah, and it feels so good. Like we have this record done for a while, but we finally find the right record label and all the right people to work with. So we're really excited. Like everything fits this time, and it feels perfect with the album and the whole thing.
We are going to see some release shows, and later in February we've got some shows announced as well to Datsuns. Those are in March, I believe. What can we expect from the live show, especially let's focus on the release shows. Like, what can we expect? Because this is not your first album, obviously, so you've got a good back catalog, but release shows tend to be a little bit different. What should we expect?
Well, I don't know, some quite exciting rock and roll from... I don't know.
I mean, we love to play live. That's our thing, obviously.
Yeah.
And now we have a new record, and it's always nice to play live, but sometimes you're a support band, sometimes it's festivals, and sometimes it's release gigs. It's like your birthday. It's like the biggest thing. And it feels great, like to show the people what they have been waiting for and what we have been waiting for.
Can people expect you guys to play the whole new album on the release shows?
Maybe, but we have some surprises, and that's going to be like guests and other stuff that's going on, like a party. We have decided to do like in the big cities in Sweden, like small shows on not the biggest places, but like crowded with all like fans and friends and guests, and like a perfect party for the record.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that you mentioned your home country of Sweden. You guys are one of many, it seems, for an outsider like myself, of Swedish bands that have that unashamedly adopt a retro feel, a look and sound, not just on stage, in your personal lives as well. What is it with Sweden and retro rock? Like it seems like no other European country embraces this like rock music from the late 60s to the early 80s. Let's put a broad, time frame on that. And often with like, West Coast California influences. What is it about Swedish people that love that particular sound so much?
I mean, the first thing that hit me when you said that was like, now it's winter time and it's so cold, and maybe we're like the bears, like going to sleep for a while, so we're like a little bit after, so we're like the 60s and the 70s still, and we're stuck there. I mean, obviously we got so much small cities in Sweden and not so much to spend our time with, like being outside and hanging out, because it's so dark, and like 6 months a year it's really, really dark and cold. So but I mean, the taste is, I don't know, what do you think, Jan?
I don't know either. It's because I've had this question a few times, but well, for me personally, I've grown up in a small town called Örebro in the middle of Sweden, and all my friends, or the older friends and that, were all listening to like old garage rock 60s, and all my friends listen to Black Sabbath and that, and I think it's just progressed from trying to find yeah, I don't know, that one wasn't really that impressed with one's own generation's music. It was more listening to one's parents' records and that I found inspiring, and a lot of my friends did as well. Black Sabbath, Rolling Stones and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah. So in a way, I think.
But we feel the same when we're coming. We played in Toronto, and we played a few times in America, and you have so good taste in music. I mean, we're so inspired from you guys, and it's like we have a lot of good bands from Sweden, but what we're listening to, it's all from
the States.
And of course Britain and stuff like that. But it's so fun to play where you guys live, because it's good music everywhere.
I mean, there are bands like, was it Sienna Roots and whatever that stay more on the roots rock side, but a lot of bands of this Swedish retro wave, if you will, bands today in hard rock that play with a psychedelic 60s, 70s influence at times, often kind of get like automatically pushed into like an occult area, and it has to be with burning candles and skulls and what have you, and there's often like the using stock footage or like B-movie horror movies, like satanic stuff. You guys have always kind of like steered clear from that a bit, and I'm not meaning that negative to other bands. I mean, I love what Lucifer does and all that kind of good stuff, right?
But I love you, and I love Coven, and you do as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, I've never been into like horror movies or that sort of 70s Hammer films and that, but so it was all a bit fake if we would be like a band like that when we don't even watch it.
Yeah, I think music like reflects who you really are. I mean, because we love that thing too, but maybe not so much that it reflects the music we create, because it's coming from the heart and the soul always when you create music. And if that was a bigger part of our life, maybe we had skulls too, and the candles and more black and the crosses and everything. But I mean, we're not that kind of persons. None of us in Spiders are. Still, we like it, but we're more into like the punk rock scene, and we like more soul and jazz and punk rock and other stuff. So I think it's like down to a mix of that. If you know what. Yeah.
You mentioned punk rock twice in one sentence, and on this album we get a little bit more that punk rock influence in the forefront than maybe before. Obviously, people that have listened to some of the singles will have heard that as well. There's definitely some Blondie meets Ramones going on in What's Your Game, I think. But we knew that already from you guys, so you covered Hang on the Telephone as well before. But when we dig into the album on songs like Fun in the Sun and Schizoid, I think there's also maybe a little bit more of a like early Rolling Stones coming out. I mean, at one point, I think in Schizoid, you actually say, I feel stoned early in the song. And I mean, obviously that can have multiple meanings, but I was wondering if that was maybe an extra nod to the band as well. It fair that early Stones was a huge influence on this record?
Yeah, very much. My father, he's from London, and he is a big Stones fan, and so we grew up we lived in London when I was little, and we always listened to the Stones all the time, and the early 60s Stones. So they've meant a lot to us. And I think
it's always nice to meet him, because I'm a big Stones fan too, and he went to Hyde Park and saw them, and he knows all the stories. And so I mean, Stones is a big band in our hearts. So even if we not talk about Stones when we create songs, it's like obviously we listen a lot to
the spirit is there, if you will. So if the impossible questions that sometimes people are asked, Beatles or Stones, it would be hard Stones for you guys?
I'm both.
I'm more Stones for you.
Yeah, I love both so much, and I mean, I think sometimes John Lennon is in my heart. He's this house, and I love both band so much, and would be stupid of me to compare them or. No, I love them both.
There you go. I mean, if
I have discussions with your father.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I bet. My wife is probably the biggest Beatles fan you'll find as well here on this side of the Atlantic. So, and I'm more of a Stones guy. So it is possible for people to still get along, even if they like the Beatles or the Stones more.
Right. So there's a chance I can get along with John and his father, you say?
There is a chance. Although I will say, just putting it out there. I mean, I know you've covered some. You've done some cover songs. I would love to see Spider's cover. She said, "Yeah," by the Stones.
Oh,
I think that would be a fun adrenaline fueled encore or whatever.
What's your game is insane. What's your game is insane. What's your game is insane.
I said it before. There's a little bit. Maybe more eclectic nature of that present on this album, especially in some songs that were already released. Is that it's still obviously within the realm of garage rock based music, but is that important for you as well to not stick because you see some bands that will have that label slapped retro rock on them, and it almost feels like they're either their audience doesn't allow them or they themselves don't allow themselves to kind of evolve from album to album. Is that important for you to kind of putting these influences like Ramones and Blondie and also a little bit the early, punky Stones to the forefront so that you don't feel too shackled in your own boundaries, if you will, while respecting the identity of the band? Obviously, I'm not expecting you guys tomorrow to release a power metal album or what have you. But I mean, it would be cool. Don't get me wrong. I love power metal, but it feels like you're experimenting or allowing yourself to be a little bit more eclectic this time. Was that like a conscious conversation that you wanted to do things a little bit different this time?
I don't know, but we've never really felt that we've been in. We've always been a bit out of genres in a way. Like the retro rock was going, and Graveyard were big, and it's all sort of heavy rock. We were there, but we still weren't in.
In the same time.
So we've been allowed to move quite a lot in different.
And we not. I don't know how to describe it, but we not normally talk like how we want to be or how we want to write songs. It's like I can't speak so much about writing the songs because I wouldn't take that from you and Rickard and Olle because you write so many songs to the band. But the whole thing with Spiders and the whole lifestyles is more like we do what we do, and it's still me or you or the band or my home or my dinner or my clothes, and it's always people like, oh, you're so 70 or 60s, or you always like you're an alternative person, or it's not like we sit down and like
try to fit in.
No, it's like what's happened when we come together and write songs and how it sounds and looks and everything. So
and what we've been listening to lately, and
I think it's in us in some.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So.
It's genuine. It's not fabricated, is what you're trying to say.
No, it is.
Yeah, it's genuine. Yeah.
When you use words like it's a lifestyle, it's genuine, whatever. Let's use that as a segue into looking at a legacy that is starting to build now. Because if I'm not mistaken, 2025 is 15 years of the band. In the closing song, "Would You Miss Me," which is, I think, one of my favorite songs so far on the album.
Nice.
I think you say the line like, we're gonna live forever. Now, 15 years is not forever just yet, but getting to a point. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be nostalgic people in this band. This is a nostalgic band. Does that mean that milestones like that are also important for you guys? Like, is this a time that you'll look back and reflect a little bit more? Can we expect 15th anniversary special celebrations this year?
Oh, I haven't thought about that.
No, I
Have you?
haven't. No.
Ah. Yeah, maybe. When we first started this band, I was a little bit. We were younger, but I was a little bit annoyed by the retro rock thing all the time. I was like, oh, we just do our thing, and I like to do new stuff, and it's still Spiders. It doesn't matter. I like Bowie and experimental people that always want to make something new, or even if it's in the rock scene.
Right.
But I think it's pretty cute because, I mean, in jazz and blues, it's always like you play each other's songs and you know how to build the song from how it's going to be like. And rock is sometimes out or in or this or that. And I feel like rock is like soul or blues or jazz. It's so maybe we should do something like celebrate, because we have played for such a long time, but we're not like a biggest band in the whole world, but we still like love each other and go out and touring and do our live shows, and that's something to celebrate.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Yeah, we could call it like the tour. We still like each other even after 15 years. Many bands don't make 15 years, right? So it's definitely something to be proud about. So we know that there's release shows coming. We know that you're obviously supporting Datsuns as well in March. We've got maybe celebrations for the 15 years, but we're only just getting started with 2025. What beyond these already announced plans for early in the year that we all know about, what can we keep our fingers crossed for? What is the bigger plan for this year for you guys?
Well, hopefully we'll be doing some tours in the autumn, but it's quite early yet, so we're just everything's being planned, and festivals in the summer, and then writing a new album as soon as possible to release in 2026. So,
it's going to be a busy year for you.
Yeah, we don't want to. We don't want to wait 7 years till we release our next one. So.
No, now we're in it again. So yeah.
So we start.
So in other words, at least half of the new album is already written.
Almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, maybe on all those shows that will come our way and those tours and festival shows, maybe we'll even get a surprise of a new song if the time is right for that. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys so much for your time today. Really excited about this new release. A lot of fun with a little bit more punky and gritty in your face sound that we get from you guys this time, which is fun to see you guys so energized after all these years.
It's worth waiting for.
I'll keep my fingers crossed that your 2025 adventures bring you to this side of the Atlantic. If not, we'll have to come to the summer festivals and so on.
We'd love Toronto last time, so that would be great.
Absolutely.
You're always welcome. We'd love to have you. In the meantime, we'll have to just, stay focused on the new album, Sharp Objects, coming out February 14. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us. Nice to meet you.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.